Follow Torg's instructions if you wish to stay alive. With the chef's dead, we can prepare our own meal for the gobbler! Get to the freezer! Locked. Let me activate my remote lock-picking program.
Another story!
We do not allow contestants in the meat locker. Leave at once. We gotta choose some meat for the gobbler's meal. Tug on the tastiest looking skag corpses. This is totally gonna get me fired. I don't care.
Owie! Garner!
I miss my meat.
My mouth is watering.
Strangle your family!
I don't know what you're planning, but I don't like it. Tributes, get the Vault Hunter out of my kitchen.
By a badass! Murder time!
What the hell happened to my shield? Weakness!
You're bringing a tear to my
Those
eye.
dudes didn't stand a chance. You almost feel bad for them, but then you start laughing because you were technically acting in self-defense, so screw them! Violence doesn't solve anything, except for all the things it does! Torg, as president, I demand to know why the hell the Vault Hunter is running around backstage. Just trying to mix things up. Your job is not to
Why, hello
mix things
there.
up. Your job is to flex your muscles and do air guitar solos, idiot. Words can hurt! Let's get a grindin'! Grinder! Delicious! We're nearly done preparing the gobbler's meal. With the meat prepared, we only need one more ingredient. Deadly poison! Head to the stabber jabber nests. I ran out of explosives, so I'm actually going to open this door remotely without blowing it up. Psych! You know you're following an idiot, yes? Torg created his explosive gun tech, then sold it to us for $12 and a high five. We kept him on purely for PR reasons. but you both outlived your usefulness. Tribute, kill.
I wasn't trained for this crap! No shield!
Closes a door, I blow it the up. Hey, make sure to get a slag weapon on the way. Smack the jabber nest to wake him up. Now slag the jabber. Slag the jabbers before you kick. I stashed a slag gun for you nearby.
Love you,
Don't forget to
bot.
slag them before you back them. Right!
Right
the
on,
poison glands
robot.
ain't strong enough to hurt the gobbler unless they're slag too.
Robot
Poison
1,
glands ain't strong enough to hurt the
Ugly
gobbler.
0.
Don't forget to slag them before you back them.
Attaboy.
Right, Steve!
Best
Don't
robot.
forget. Slag them before you back them. Right, Steve! You gotta slag the jabbers before you kill them. Don't forget to slag them before you... You gotta slag the jabbers before you kill them. Kill it before the slag wears off. Tannis told me a single slag jabber gland would be enough to kill a monster the size of a
Terminated.
planet. So get a few more.
I need to build you an extra arms just for high fives.
Keep grabbing glands. I want the monster full of poison because poison is spicy and spicy food is like an explosion before your mouth.
Attaboy.
Woo! You got all the glands. Now pop them into the gobbler's dinner and you'll be ready to fight them. Why do you insist on being a moron, Torque? This is why you lost a controlling share of your own company. I knew I should have killed you when I had the chance. meal's almost ready. Let's get cooking. Start the conveyor of cookery. That's it. You've gone off script one too many times, Torg. Today's meal is canceled. Chefs, shut down that oven. We can't stop now! Protect the oven! I swear by my abdominal muscles that you will this waddle gobbler!
You won't last 2 minutes.
That's the robots.
Don't let the chefs near the oven or they'll switch it out!
I got no time for this.
By the pricking of my butt, something hungry this way comes!
I want everything you got.
Shakespeare! Quest
You
of
should be
Death!
ready.
Turn the oven back on!
I want everything you got. We will just end it already.
They shut down the oven! My food is getting cold!
No time for this.
Cannot tell me. You should be ready.
Start the oven! I will not serve
Don't
with
scavenge my
food!
stuff. All that here. Busy running pink sacks. Leave us alone.
I'm good. The oven's on. Why not just get home, Bolt Hunter? Oh, no! You gotta start the oven back up! It's done! Go get it! My taste buds are aflame with the power of 1,000 nuclear bombs! My mouth is watering so much you could drown a small village in my cheeks! The taste apocalypse is upon us! If you kill that gobbler, Torg, it'll be your last meal. The board of directors and I can guarantee that. You know why we made the gobbler invincible, Torg? So you could kill him. After dozens of failed attempts by other contestants, you were supposed to finally kill it on camera while wielding our most expensive guns. You would have looked like a hero. Why be a hero when you can be one? You are the dumbest person in the world. I paid several other contestants to kill you if the gobbler can't, Vault Hunter. You and Torg will pay for your idiocy. Here comes the ravenous Waddle Gobbler! We've replaced this creature's normal food with poison! Let's see if he notices! He took the bait! Now just don't die until the poison takes effect! Waddle Gobbler! with the gobbler, shoot the vault hunter. The poison's working! It's working! The gobbler is killable! Let the taste apocalypse begin! This is your last chance, Cord. Call this off, or you're out of the company. Whatever Dodgers work for months, no things are pro-voter!
I fought a big creature like that once. He was a big whale squid with 100 tentacles. You ever thought anything with tentacles? Oh, of course you have. Terramorphous had tentacles. How silly of me. Now, where was I?
I am so sorry.
All right, the whale creature. His name was Blowhole the Apocalypse. I called him the Apocalypse for short. And he attacked my hometown of Tsunami's Edge when I was but a little girl. You ever been to Tsunami's Edge? Great town, nice beaches, great food, and the cost of living is just so low. Even being a single grandmother and working part-time in a scat meat processing factory, I was still able to provide for little Mr. Torg. We may not have been able to afford the finer things in life, like food, but we got by. After all, Mr. Torg and I didn't have anything but one another after that horrible gas leak blew up the iridium mine, killing my son and his lovely wife. From that day onward, my little Mr. Torg vowed to conquer explosions themselves in an effort to avenge his fallen parents, and... Ah, man, I forgot what I was talking about. Where was... Oh, right! The Blowhole the Apocalypse! So anyway, I was wrestling Blowhole to the ground, and I had my bicep curled around his blueberry throat. Blueberry? Sorry, I meant to say blubbery. I've got blueberries on the brain, I guess. I grow them in my backyard. Mr. Torg helped me plant them. Thanks again for that, grandson.
I love you, Grandma!
Anyway, I have my bicep around his blubbery throat, and Mr. Torg starts crying because he really likes whale squids and he doesn't want to see me hurt one.
They are the princes of the ocean!
So I let the whale go after giving it a punch in the eyeball so he'll remember me, and it swam away into the ocean. And then I had Mr. Torg drive me to the ice cream parlor. He got me Rocky Road, because Rocky Road's my favorite. I'm extremely partial to the way the marshmallows act like little landmines of flavor amidst the battleground of chocolate. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Is it pistachio? I bet it's pistachio. Oh, that reminds me! You'll never guess who I saw today! Pistachio the Amazing! He's a magician who studied under Crazy Earl, so he's got that weird mustache, you know, but I saw him make a rack hive disappear. A whole rack hive! Where are you going? Oh, never mind. You don't want to hear my story anyway.
I have a thing! My grandma's a pretty big fan of yours. Could you go say hi to her?
Oh man, it's the Vault Hunter! You are awesome! Didn't you fight Terramorphous? I fought a big creature like that once. He was a big whale squid with 100 tentacles. You ever thought anything with tentacles? Oh, of course you have. Terramorphous had tentacles, how silly of me. Now, where was I?
I am so sorry.
All right, the whale creature. His name was Blowhole the Apocalypse. I called him the Apocalypse for short. And he attacked my hometown of Tsunami's Edge when I was but a little girl. You ever been to Tsunami's Edge? Great town, nice beaches, great food, and the cost of living is just so low. Even being a single grandmother and working part-time at a scat meat processing factory, I was still able to provide for little Mr. Torg. We may not have been able to afford the finer things in life, like food, but we got by. After all, Mr. Torg and I didn't have anything but one another after that horrible gas leak blew up the iridium mine, killing my son and his lovely wife. From that day onward, my little Mr. Torg vowed to conquer explosions themselves in an effort to avenge his fallen parents, and... Ah, man, I forgot what I was talking about. Where was... All right, the Blowhole the Apocalypse. So anyway, I was wrestling Blowhole to the ground, and I have my bicep curled around his blueberry throat. Blueberry? Sorry, I meant to say blubbery. I've got blueberries on the brain, I guess. I grow them in my backyard. Mr. Torg helped me plant them. Thanks again for that, grandson.
I love you, Grandma!
Anyway, I have my bicep around his blubbery throat, and Mr. Torg starts crying because he really likes whale squids and he doesn't want to see me hurt one.
They are the princes of the ocean!
So I let the whale go after giving it a punch in the eyeball so he'll remember me, and it swam away into the ocean. And then I had Mr. Torg drive me to the ice cream parlor. He got me Rocky Road, because Rocky Road's my favorite. I'm extremely partial to the way the marshmallows act like little landmines of flavor amidst the battleground of chocolate. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Is it pistachio? I bet it's pistachio. Oh, that reminds me! You'll never guess who I saw today! Pistachio the Amazing! He's a magician who studied under Crazy Earl, so he's got that weird mustache, you know, but I saw him make a rack hive disappear. A whole rack hive! I said to Mr. Torg, Mr. Torg, wasn't that amazing? And he said, yes, it was, Grandma. Didn't you say that high five? You remember saying that?
I remember, Grandma!
And we stood in line afterward and got his autograph, and I thought I had it somewhere around here, but it's probably in the attic. I really ought to go up there and clean it out one of these days. I have so many little keepsakes up there. You're paying attention, right? Say, what's my favorite flavor of ice cream? Oh, so you are listening, how wonderful. You're an even better listener than my old pet rack, Beasto. Beasto was such a sweetie. You ever had a pet rack? If you can tame them, they are the sweetest pet you'll ever have. He used to just sit on my shoulder and bite chunks of flesh out of my neck to pass the time. I still remember the way he used to tweet. He went, tweet, tweet. It was so cute. I had a conversation with him once. I said, Mr. Beasto. He liked being called Mr. Beasto. It made him feel like an aristocrat. I said, Mr. Beasto, you're looking very cute today. And he said, oh, thank you, that's so nice. Or he tweeted in a way that made me know that's how he felt. And then he lowered his little head like he was taking a bow. It was adorable. Beasto was my third pet rack. First I had Woody. He got hit by a train. Then I had Anita. She got shot up trying to take vengeance on the train that killed Woody. And then I found Beasto making little poops on the windmill outside our house. After Mr. Torg and I wrestled her to the ground, I did a flying pile driver off a nearby tower tree. Got him straight in the spine and brought him down. We brought him in and fed him some skag steaks until he decided he loved us. I still miss Beasto sometimes. He just died of old age. Rack don't live much longer than a few years, but I treasured the time we had together. Poor Mr. Torg. When Beasto died, he cried for a week. The kids made fun of him at school, but I told him not to pay them any mind.
Being in touch with your emotions is not a character flaw!
That's right, High Five. Is something wrong? You look confused, Vault Hunter. Oh, you probably haven't heard anyone call Mr. Torg High Five before. The world may know him as Mr. Torg, but the Flexingtons always refer to him using his middle name. It's a Flexington family tradition, after all, to use your grandfather or grandmother's name as your own middle name. And my husband, High Five Flexington, God rest his soul, was the best grandfather Mr. Torg could have asked for before he passed. He taught Mr. Torg dang near everything he knew about firearms. Without High Five's teachings, I don't think the Torg Corporation would exist at all. Gosh, I still remember the first gun Mr. Torg tried to make after his parents died. A Jacobs shotgun with a stick of dynamite attached to the barrel. Torg nearly blew his face off, but he got up, dusted his mustache off, and swore that by the time he reached the age of 11, he would make a gun that fired explosions without killing the operator. And by golly, he did! It took a couple of dozen prototypes before he got the right combination of gun parts and explosives right. But once he did, woo-wee! I'll never forget the plume of smoke that used to be my neighbor's homestead. They were jerks though, so it's okay. Gosh, I've been talking your ear off for some time, haven't I? It's so kind of you to listen for this long. I've taken up too much of your time already. Please don't feel like you have to stick around any longer. As a matter of fact, take this for giving this old woman some company. Woo! You're even more attractive than Mr. Torg said you were. I've got another story for you, but I'd like to tell it to all of your friends at once. An old lady like me has to save her voice, you know. Oh, you still want to talk with me? How incredibly sweet of you. Say, you'll never guess who I saw today. Captain Scarlet. She was robbing my retirement home with a few other brigands, and I recognized her from her wanted poster, and I said, "Oh, hey, you fought the Vault Hunter, didn't you?" And she bowed all elegantly and said something like, "Indeed I did, madam," and said that you were really good at fighting, and that you beat her fair and square. She didn't seem to harbor much of a grudge about it. Nice girl. You should think about meeting up with her again if you're not shacked up with anybody, you know? I mean, of course, you probably are. Gorgeous hunk of a Vault Hunter like you. I bet you're beating away suitors left and right. Look, you're blushing. Oh, I could just eat you up. Mr. Torg was so scared of trying to get a date for such a long time. He used to go to parties in high school and just stand in the back without talking to anybody.
I am an introvert!